Disneyland news time. Time to discuss all of the trending headlines that are making waves right now. We are starting with the California State Assembly kind of gathering together finally, and maybe out of nowhere it seems, to want to fast track Disneyland Resort and theme parks of that size to sort of reopen a little bit quicker than imagined. We obviously have a color-tiered system that the state of California has put in place for various theme parks and businesses to come back online, in which to reopen and kind of follow the guidance in. A new bill was proposed by a California State Assembly member that would give the reopening of Disneyland and Universal Studios Hollywood and override Governor Gavin Newsom's guidelines that have kept large California theme parks shuttered for more than 10 months. California Assembly member Sharon Quirk-Silva of Fullerton announced plans to co-sponsor a bill that would require the state to allow all theme parks reopen in the same tier of Newsom's blueprint for a safer economy. The bill would be co-sponsored by Assemblywoman Suzette Martinez Balarates of Santa Clarita, whose district includes Six Flags Magic Mountain. California issued separate reopening guidelines for small and large theme parks. Small theme parks with a capacity of less than 15,000 visitors can reopen in the orange or moderate tier, as we see there for you in terms of how these tiers break down. And then when it comes to Tier 3, which is that orange moderate, larger theme parks, however, would have to be sort of relegated to the yellow or minimal tier. So you see there at the bottom. Unfortunately, that is the way of the world in this state. While Walt Disney World has been open since last July and operating safely, the sort of industry insiders all say that obviously Disney World has done a great job, as have theme parks out in Florida. However, we would like to also sort of pull for you a quote that came from the assembly members. They were saying that obviously Six Flags Magic Mountain is a part of their district, and so they feel comfortable sponsoring this. They've noticed how other theme parks around the world have operated and done so safely. And then the California Theme Park Association, and I believe their acronym is CAPA, they came out and they said, "We deeply appreciate Assembly members Quirk-Silva and Martinez Vallarades for their leadership and for introducing legislation on safe theme park reopening." CAPA Executive Director Aaron Guerrero said in a statement, concluding with, "Worldwide, theme parks have proven they can reopen responsibly while protecting the health of guests and staff. Science and data show it can be done. California should allow theme parks to reopen responsibly in the orange and moderate Tier 3. So, Tyler, Katrina, with that quote, I don't know where the assembly has been all year. I don't know where our state representatives have been hiding this whole time, but suddenly they're interested in doing something about it and saying, we see other realms working just fine, and we see other sort of data-backed proof that they can do this okay. So now we're going to step in and try and override the governor and his mandate and say, how about just one less tier than having to go all the way to the bottom, waiting all the way for the bottom? How about we just push it into, the one tier away from the bottom? And I think that's more than reasonable.
I think that's fair. And I'm like with you. Where have they been this whole time? Were they like bears, like hibernating during the winter, and they're just kind of like chilling? They're finally coming out because the sun's coming out, and they're like, hey, you know what? Why don't we just
we have power, don't we?
The orange tier? Like,
we can do stuff
about it.
Well,
communicate.
I'm sure they didn't want to make it seem like things were going off the rails, right? Like, I think that had something to do with it, right? It had to, of like stepping on Governor Newsom's toes. I'm sure that's not something they necessarily wanted to do, but I guess they figured that at this point that maybe it's time to step on a couple toes.
Well, and with the governor of the state of California now being fast-tracked himself for a recall election, and they're getting very close on the signature count needed for that. Perhaps this was the assembly members' way of thinking, well, he doesn't seem very popular right now. Perhaps we step in, save a little bit of face, and do what we need to do for the sake of bringing thousands, tens of thousands of jobs back and maybe getting things back online in a safe way. So really thrilled to hear that they are looking to try and fast track this. We're obviously seeing lots of numbers drop off in terms of deaths, in terms of ICUs. Numbers everywhere are suddenly starting to drop off. So great news. Wonderful to see that the California State Assembly is now putting things in action. I think it's worth pointing out too, not to touch on things too politically, but both of these representatives are also Democrats. So and the governor of California is a notable Democrat, and so this seems like a bipartisan issue, at least to them, that it's important to get this moving again.
Yeah.
So nice to see that they are willing to push this and get it moving.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of what we've been saying all along, right? It's like, okay, just make it so that this all make it so that it's all
makes sense.
Makes sense. Like I don't know. I was about to say that, but then I was like, no, that's actually what it is.
Exactly it.
If you're gonna let certain businesses open, then you can't exclude other businesses just because you feel like it. It just didn't really make any sense. So this just kind of brings everything to the same platform, and if the government decides, if the California government decides that it's safe enough to open a restaurant, it should be safe enough to open Disneyland, in my opinion. So we shall see. I'm excited to see what this brings. Hopefully, hopefully these things go quickly, but also safely. And, from what we've seen in Florida, these theme parks seem to be doing the COVID stuff better than anybody else I've seen. So I know that they can do it as safely as possible, and let's just hope we can go have some fun soon.
I think Orange Tier is reasonable.
I do too.
I mean, Orange County was able to get there at one point for a small, a little bit of time, but they were there.
Yeah.
So it's possible. I think that's fairer than the Yellow Tier. I mean, that's impossible to get to.
That was
absolutely.
That's another year away.
Yeah, it's definitely nice to see movement in that direction, long overdue, especially as many of us and even people that we're associated with have all been out to Florida a time or two to experience that ourselves. And the state even sent representatives out there, and when they came back, and we've covered this, they even said things were being handled really well, and then proceeded to lock things down further for these theme parks. And you're right. I think, Tyler, just let it make sense, for once, and get it on track. Lots of jobs are at stake, lots of people's livelihoods are at stake, and if it can be done safely, why aren't we doing it? So nice to see things are finally moving in that direction. Obviously, Disneyland being able to, what with the state's sort of rolling back of restrictions when it comes to the stay-at-home order that had been in effect since December. Finally, those things rolling back, and now we're in a position where Downtown Disney, as the only part of Disneyland Resort open right now, is finally able to bring cast members back. They are officially back now, working in dining capacities. Outdoor dining is once again allowed within the Downtown Disney realm and across the state of California. Again, when it came to statistics and stuff, not too far off from where the state shut things down in December. Got a little bit better, but by no means was it dramatically better, and suddenly it was okay to reopen things. So let it make sense is, I think, the theme here. Let's put it on a bumper sticker and
t-shirts.
Pass it out. Yeah, absolutely. At any rate, we move on. You may have heard, ladies and gentlemen, that the Disneyland Resort Annual Passholder program has been scrapped. So while we were away, obviously, due to all kinds of impacts that kept us out of distance for a while, we were covering it in some news videos here on the channel. However, we haven't been able to discuss it yet. The Annual Passholder program at Disneyland has been fully scrapped, and in its place at this point is something they call the Legacy Passholder program, kind of a stopgap measure to offer up some, we'll call them perks, I guess, some discounts, and basically to make everybody that is upset that their annual passes have just been kind of tossed out, make them feel a little bit better about themselves by saying, now you're a legacy pass holder. One of the things that I find very interesting is that the Disneyland Resort kind of had a come to Jesus moment, I guess. I think it's interesting that maybe they were waiting, maybe they were just trying to figure out when they were going to do this. I think we all knew it was coming at some point. Yeah. But one of the things that was pointed out by Disneyland President Ken Patrick is he said when the Orange County Register went to him and was like, why now? You pulled the plug on over 1 million plus annual pass holders. They're all gone in one sweep. What was that about? And he said, quote, it's sort of a new world that we're going to have to deal with as we move forward under these restrictions. When you think about those restrictions and you think about the size of our annual pass program, it's simply not feasible for us to continue to operate the annual pass program the way that it's been operating in the past. So obviously, right, having that 1 million plus annual pass holders was going to be overwhelming to have to try and deal with if they were reopening anytime soon. We know how it works out in Walt Disney World, and that is a park reservation system is in place where, including annual passes, you can make a park reservation for the park you'd like to go to. If you have a standard ticket, you make that park reservation and you go. If you have a hotel room at Disney, that's a qualifier for making a park ticket reservation and you go. And then on top of that, if you're an annual pass holder, there are a handful of select options for you in terms of making that reservation. So they allow so many in each category in terms of park reservations. And for the most part, annual pass holders haven't had too much trouble getting reservations to go to the theme parks in Florida. Granted, they are much bigger in space and have a lot more room to move around. But, Katrina, definitely one of those things I think we all knew was coming eventually, but now we don't know what's going to replace it. We don't know what reservations are going to look like on the other end. And congratulations, we're Legacy Pass holders.
Woo! We did it, you guys.
Wow.
Wow, this is so great.
We're there.
So
oh my God, we get cool picture opportunities.
How about that?
How about that? Like,
Stand in front of some cardboard.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. Did you guys see the WandaVision one? Totally worth it, right?
I did.
You can get a piece of paper poster like that I'm not going to do anything with. Just toss it in the trash. But
Don't sound so entitled.
I know, God.
Oh my God.
But we're Legacy, you guys.
Yeah.
Legit. Keep
Yep.
your passes, frame them. You're never going to see those.
Legacy
cans
is
again.
code for legendary.
Yeah,
That's what that is. How does it feel to be a legend?
It's are we going to see it again? I don't know. It's like we're a part of the past now.
Are you
Hard
sure
to
it's not
tell.
code for forgotten?
It's
Oh.
it kind of is.
Ooh, ouch. Oh,
Damn,
I
damn,
don't
damn,
know.
damn, damn.
Wow.
Firing the shots. I
Yeah.
mean, we knew it was going to happen.
Right.
It had to happen.
Yep.
There's too many annual pass holders at Disneyland. Disney World's different because I feel like there's not as many. And if they are annual passes, like they're like from all over the country. And so they're going to be staying at a hotel at Disney World.
Yeah.
And so they're going to be getting that like 60-day pass or reservation system. So they don't really have to worry about it. But then like California, it's just a completely different ballgame because everybody's like local. And then there's so many tier systems. And when we talked about it earlier this year, even remember, like I went on this whole tirade about, well, you had a cheaper pass than we did. And then if you had the same benefits, and I'm going to sound rude, it's going to sound rude, but like if we paid more for like the Disneyland, Disney World pass, and then you paid something different, but we all had the same amount, that's not fair.
Well,
It's not
exactly.
rude.
You
That's
were
not
paying
rude.
for more.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
Okay.
get what you
I know,
deserve.
it's not rude. You paid less than I did, and you get the same benefits.
Well,
I
you
don't want to
shouldn't.
sound rude.
There were so many levels to that system, and each level had different benefits. That's
Yeah.
why you paid more, right? So
Yeah.
naturally, you would expect that if they were to come back with a park reservation system in place, that they would honor their most exclusive of tiers
Mhm.
for the sake of you're paying for that honor, you're paying for that luxury.
We're kind of in the Wild West right now. It's going to be this new pass that's coming out is going to be kind of a cross between some of the passes that they've already created, which is like one that like you had, Wade, which was you could
Pass.
Yeah, the Flex Pass where you could choose your days you're going to be coming, and certain days were blocked out to you, and it's going to be kind of a combination of that mixed with the current annual pass holder passes, I
Sure.
think. So
No doubt.
be a little baby of those two. So we'll
What
see
I
how it goes.
am intrigued about on this little survey is like a dedicated an entrance.
Oh, yeah, I saw
for
that.
And I was
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, I would do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that dedicated.
I mean,
entrance.
it seems like, especially if you have a lot of local, I mean, everybody's going to be interested in that annual pass, no doubt. So having dedicated entrances for annual pass holders seems like a smart idea.
they
Just
have it
to
at Disney World, and
Yeah.
I feel so fancy because I like walk up with
My
my magic band,
exclusive
and I'm like,
line.
excuse me.
yes, and now you can walk up after you get this next pass and say, "And I was also a legend."
Yep, and they'll be like,
Also
and
part of the
your
legacy.
point, move it along.
Thank you
Like,
very much.
What? Who are you?
Hey, in other news, Disneyland's attendance is said to potentially rebound by 2022. This is coming from an analyst that thinks there's going to be enough pent-up demand that we might even see historical numbers of attendance come flooding back to the Disneyland Resort. From the Daily Bulletin, they write Disneyland and other theme parks around the world are expected to reach historical attendance levels by 2022 due to pent-up demand for travel and entertainment, according to a new analyst forecast. UBS financial analyst John Hodel forecasts attendance at Disney's pandemic-battered theme parks division will bounce back in 2022 after bottoming out during the COVID-19 pandemic, saying, quote, "We believe the park's business has bottomed and will see improved attendance profitability as the vaccine becomes more widely distributed. We expect parks to approach historical performance and attendance metrics by fiscal year 2022 with higher margins given operational improvements implemented during the pandemic. So there you hear it, an analyst sort of predicting that we're going to see some big numbers in 2022. I don't know if I feel like Disneyland's going to take that long to rebound. I think that there is a lot of pent-up demand. I think a lot of people are very eager to get back to it. Walt Disney World, with their slow burn of increasing capacity in Florida that we've seen, there's clearly still demand there, but they're restricting it due to the pandemic. So I don't know if it'll even take that long, quite frankly, but that's what the analysts are saying. What do you think, Tyler? 2022, it'll take maybe a year and a half maybe to see those numbers spike?
I don't know. I mean, the thing that I think the analyst is not thinking about possibly is the fact that, you know, like what you just said, the parks are capping their attendance to a certain degree. So yeah, maybe there'll be demand, but it's not going to be more crowded than we've seen before because they're going to keep the capacity low, I think. I mean, maybe Disney World will be at 100% next year or something like that, but I just can't see. I think Disneyland will not be like that. I think Disneyland is still going to be in 2020. I think we'll still be at a kind of, you know, lower capacity personally.
2021.
But I thought 2022. I thought it was when it
You
said
said
it was
2020.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Oh.
2021.
He's like, I don't know what year we're in anymore.
Yeah,
It's
I
all
know.
running
It all
together.
blurs
I know,
together.
it's all running together.
We're all
the
still
same
stuck
thing.
at home. So
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, I think the other thing too to remember is that, like, this is like a real bad time for a lot of people out there. You know, monetary wise, it's not you know, not everybody has kept their job, not everybody can, you know, take care of their family, you know, just eating and drinking and having a place to live, like.
Sure.
So I just don't know if things are going to be like back to normal by 2022. I just, that seems a little far-fetched to me, but I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, that financial strain definitely a big part. And I know that when it came to annual pass surveys that went out about what the next annual pass might look like, one of the questions was, would eliminating the payment plan for an annual pass be a no-go for you? And I know that the majority of people, and having worked for Disney during the heyday of the annual pass, the majority of people had the payment plan in order to have the annual pass. So if you eliminate that as an option, make these things $1,500 to $1,800.
Oh yeah.
I don't
see a big difference in people coming.
APs, I think, will be diminished quite substantially.
I hate to say it, but I kind of hope they do exclude the payment plan. I know that would hurt a lot of people, and I'm sorry to those of you that would hurt. But it's just one of those things where, man, things are just so. It's so funny because we've said this like a million times over this past year, but things are just different than we've ever seen before, and unfortunately, we have to do different tactics than we've ever done before to handle these things.
It sucks because like business is business, right? So they have to like figure out a way where attendance. I mean, they're gonna make more money with the daily tickets, right? And so that's what they're looking for. They don't care about annual pass holders really. They wanna please you, but they want the daily the daily ticket sales. And so if they're able to do like a 4-day ticket sale for annual pass holder or like for locals or whatever, that's more feasible to them than giving them an annual pass type thing. But I think that the demand is gonna be high for sure. And then maybe like the hotels and stuff, people are actually going to want to stay at the hotels more often at Disneyland now, but the capacity is they're not going to reach 100%. So, I mean, I don't know. I like in my mind, my little brain, it's like, let's figure this out. So the demand's going to be high. It's going to be great. And they're going to sell out every single day, most likely at Disneyland for the next, when they open for like a year or so, like let's say they open up in the summer of this year, then yeah, the demand's going to be super high until like probably 2023. And it's always going to sell out at 100%. Like they're never going to have like an extra day here and there.
Right.
Are they going to have their profits be okay in 2022? No. Yeah. They're never going to bring that back. Not until like maybe like 4 or 5 years from now to like actually bring back the profit that they did.
The record
before,
profits.
the record profits before they like shut down.
Oh.
But they're like always going to be in demand. Like whenever they open, like everybody wants that magic. Like, I mean, we're excited to go back to downtown Disney just to have a little spark of magic. So anybody will pay the price just to have like a little glimpse of something, just to get out of their reality that they currently have, you know,
because it's a dark reality, unfortunately. A lot of things to think about there. Over to you. What do you think might happen when it comes to Disneyland and Disney parks sort of rebounding in attendance and even having historical levels of attendance? You think by 2022 we'll see that? We'd love to hear your perspective. Go ahead and leave it in the comment section down below, and we will certainly follow up with you to see if anything might vary in opinion. We always love to hear everyone's feedback, so make sure to throw it in the comment section just beneath this video.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.